The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss fall decoration decor you can make from your garden, as well as preparing your garden for winter, as well as invasive garden plants. Our guest is horticultural therapist Derrick Stowell will be with us and will answer your garden questions. The hour's full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy you've chose us to be part of your day just for a little bit. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're doing such on one of the 20 AM and FM frequencies, broadcasting our program here in 2025 through a radio app, through our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Radio 9 season at the top of the page tab, in-studio video replay, podcast replay, however you're consuming it. Thank you so much. You want to be part of the program? You can do that by sending us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com with your question, or just say hi. Let us know where you're listening from. As well as you can give us a call, toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. If you can't get through, leave a message. We will call you back. Before we get in the program, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
What do bees wear in the rain?
Honey, bee hats, bee something.
They're yellow jackets.
Oh, they're okay. All right.
So this ad is brought to you by rescue.com.
This joke is sponsored.
The joke. This week's garden joke is brought to you by rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pests, insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at rescue.com. That's rescue.com.
Things in which you can make your decor items for fall from your garden.
Yeah, and then we're also going to talk about some things that you can do to prepare for winter.
Winter, yes.
Yeah. So corn stalks, these are good if you grew corn or you have a neighbor who grew corn. They dry out once you harvest that corn, and they make great DIY decor.
Don't go to the garden center and buy these things. It just...
You can.
I know, but there's so many free resources.
Right.
There's so many free resources.
And I'm not going to shame people for buying them, but if you know somebody who has access to them, obviously,
Don't go to a farmer's field and take them.
Okay, don't do that.
Don't do that. There's people that do that. Don't be that person.
Another thing you can do with those corn
stalks,
leaves, I guess.
Leaves, yes.
Whatever you want to call it. You can make a wreath. And there's lots of different styles that you can find online that show. Joey made one.
Out of a metal coat hanger.
Yeah.
Remember the metal coat hangers?
Yes.
Yes. You basically take and you tie, you got the dry leaf, and then you tie a knot and you tie it around you make your metal coat hanger into a round circle, and you can fill it up with the leaf of the corn.
Yeah, so you can get creative. You can do something like that, or you can I've seen people kind of affix them to their porch rails, things like that. So
the wreath, you mean?
Yeah, the wreath. Yeah. So yeah, that's one. And then pumpkins, that's a pretty obvious one. If you have a lot of pumpkins, you can make them decor. They do sit outside. They can sit outside for quite some time
until they freeze and they thaw, and then they turn to slime and they start collapsing in on themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then gourds. Gourds are a good one. You might not be, if you didn't grow them, you can typically find them at most farmers markets, and they do make a fun
The farmers market is where you're going to find the bigger, unique ones. The garden center, you're going to find the traditional, ordinary gourds. There's apple. They're apple gourds. They look like an apple, and then there's
like a big apple.
large bottom gourds, that type of thing. So your farmers markets where you're going to see or farm stand or fall festival activity gathering. You're going to see the more unique ones. Now they may not all be able to be purchased, but that's where you're going to see them at.
Right. So that's another one. And then we have mums. Now you might not grow mums. Maybe you do grow mums. Maybe you want to grow mums. Whatever you would want to do. Otherwise, you can usually find them everywhere.
Yes.
Come like September, outside your grocery store, at the big box stores.
People sell them on the side of the road.
On the side of the road.
Vines. Explain this one.
So this is like, you kind of have to get creative. So if you have vines growing, you can intertwine, use it as they are, but then you can intertwine anything like cornstalk leaves, put some gourds by it, put some mums.
So we're not taking, we're taking the dry vines of...
Or just any vine.
Okay.
Because vines kind of have that like...
We talking like cucumber vines, or we talking like woody, like grapevines?
Like grapevines,
Okay.
or just maybe you have a vine that grows up your front porch.
That you don't want to,
Yeah.
like a hops or something.
Yeah, and you kind of just incorporate some fall decor, because it has like that eerie-ish kind of feel to it.
Okay. Yeah. And obviously, this next item is not going to come from your garden, but thrift stores is a great way to find a lot of fall decor items for a very few dollars. You can go in a thrift store with $10 and walk out with a lot of stuff. In addition, after the fall is over, if you are into straw bale gardening or want to get into straw bale gardening, after the Halloween time and the fall festival activities and when it starts getting cold, you'll be amazed as you drive around urban areas how many people have straw bales along the side of the road that they're throwing out. Assume that you get them before the trash people come, but you can bring them back to your garden, set them where you're going to have your straw bale garden, and then condition them in the spring, and you save $4 to $8 based on where you're normally purchasing your straw bales at.
If you're not sure where you want to put it, you can definitely bring it into your garage or something, or cover it up or whatever.
Cover it up. Put it where you think you want it, but cover it up, because if you put it in the garden and it rains, that 25-pound straw bale now becomes about 90 pounds soaking wet. And that type of thing. So let's talk about the second part of this first segment, preparing the garden for winter. Anybody who's in the northern areas know that there's a certain point where it's the no return. It's 70 degrees today, 45 tonight, and then tomorrow it bottoms out and it's supposed, the snow comes in, and that's the end of the garden as we know it for the year.
Right. So one thing you can do is trim back any plants, whether this be perennials or maybe you have some tomato plants or peppers. You don't necessarily even have to trim them back, but you can pull them out and just lay them in the garden bed. This will help feed the soil. It'll give a nice little home for beneficial insects, and it's something that you can do if you don't want to just leave the plants as they are. A lot of perennials need to be trimmed at this time of year before winter, so those are some options for you. You want to make sure you're putting away any sort of supports, tomato cages, trellises, anything that you don't want to leave up that could get harmed by possible ice if you live in an area that would have ice or heavy snow, or you can leave them out, but you just want to make sure that you are making a decision what to do with them.
Pile up excess leaves either on your grow beds or in a pile that you can access them for a mulch and soil nutrition building. In addition, if you have a drip irrigation system or any type of irrigation system, we have a drip irrigation system. The main feed line is buried 6 inches under the ground next to the perimeter of the garden, and then all the feeder lines are coming off of that out of the ground and into our raised beds. We take a vacuum sweeper, and this only works on vacuums that allow you to invert the hose to blow air out. A shot vac you could do it with, and I tape it in, I disconnect it from the house faucet, take the timer inside so it doesn't freeze, and then I tape the hose onto the threads of the main line, and I blow it out. I let it run for about 10 minutes, and I go to the other end where the feeder line comes out of the ground and the end point is at, and I open that portion up to allow all the excess water to be blown out. Is it 100%? No, but it's about 80 to 90% where the volume of water is so minimal that when it freezes, it doesn't expand. If you don't do this, you know what happens. The water expands and it blows the hose, blows the pipe, breaks the pipe because water expands when it freezes. So getting most of the water out is going to save your drip and soaker hoses and all that irrigation system.
Right. So, yeah, that's definitely a good tip. Then you want to clean and treat your tools. So if you have pruners, spades, shovels, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you clean them.
Well, first, you want to find them and put them somewhere where they're going to be accessible in the spring, and you just don't throw them in a bucket in the back of the garden. I didn't know in our storage shed at the big garden, I didn't know we had like 40 feet of feeder line for the irrigation. I was digging around, and there was like 40 feet wound up of half-inch black pipe that I needed like several times that I had to modify other things for.
Well, it's a good thing you
because
found it.
I had it buried in the back.
Yeah. So don't do that. Like, for example, your trowel that you might need when you're starting seeds.
Well, see if it's any good.
Well, right. But I'm just saying, like, you might think, okay, I'm going to put this trowel here.
So I won't forget.
Where
did I put that trowel?
Yeah, you put it on a shelf in the shed. And then maybe you don't dig out the snow around your shed and you're like, oh, I want to start seeds in January. And you got 3 feet of snow.
Or if you have compost that or potting soil that you've bought on sale right now, take it in the garage or take it in the basement, somewhere where it's not going to freeze, so you have accessibility to it. So you don't have to wait for it to thaw for a couple of days. And now's the time. There's still places that have this stuff either in bulk or in bag that you can buy at a real reduced rate because they don't want to hold it over winter.
No, and this is a tip for me, for myself, because I have my trowel sitting outside and I should bring it in.
If you're going to treat these tools, you can do it 2 different ways. You can scrub all the dirt off with a metal brush, and you can coat it with oil, or use motor oil, WD-40. However, if you are in the organic realm and don't want to contaminate the soil any more than what it might already be, vegetable oil is fine to coat them with, to pour over the hinges or the on the shears or anything like that. You can lubricate them up with organic or food grade oil in order to preserve them over the winter.
Exactly. And then if you have any power tools, whether it be a tiller or a lawnmower or whatever.
Your mom's always good about this, running the gas out of them.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the gas is different than it was 25 years ago, but if gas, I don't know the precise, if gas is kept in a long period of time, it can degrade. Now, we have had, we use gas in the chainsaw and the weed eater on our property, and we don't drain it out. We always have some gas in it, so it's always ready to use for any type of mechanism. But like a lawnmower, you're not going to use a lawnmower basically from middle of November in the northern climates to early to mid-March. So it's going to sit there a long time. And the reason why it is, and I just remembered, the ethanol, most people don't get ethanol-free gas. Most gas sold has some level, about 10% of ethanol in it. Ethanol will eat away at carburetors in these small engines.
Wow.
So you want to, like if you have a chainsaw and you use ethanol gas with your 50-to-1 ratio, it'll run fine. It'll work all day long, every day. But if you let that thing set for multiple months, that carburetor will be eaten out and you cannot get that thing started. So that's why certain areas, farther northern areas of what we have found, because we have land in the northern portion of Wisconsin, a lot of the gas stations up there has that 10% ethanol, but then they have the premium, which is 100% non-ethanol fuel, because there's so many ATVs and snowmobiles, chainsaws, weed eaters that require that kind of gas, so that it will not destroy the carburetor. So if you didn't know that, now you do.
The more you know.
Yeah. So you can figure that out and see, and you can do searches and find where you can get ethanol-free gasoline at for this particular purpose. And if you have to go on a journey, you have to go on a journey and get some quantity there. Well, quantity can be found at waltonsinc.com.
We are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's Inc. Listen, we know you care about where your food comes from, canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables, but is great, but what about the meat? At Walton's, you can get the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. If you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like, Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. They have everything, full line of meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, and more to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.
When we return, invasive plants that grow in your backyard. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Good garden tools make gardening easier. Wisconsin-made Cobra Head tools simplify weeding, cultivating, digging, and planting. Favorites of professional gardeners, Cobra Head tools are durable, ergonomic, and easy to work with. Visit cobrahead.com and use coupon code SOIL for 10% off your order. David J. Frank, Southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company, is a landscaper you need. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com.
Mantis garden tiller cultivators are the perfect solution for any garden. With their gas-powered 2-cycle or 4-cycle engine, these powerful machines can till 9 or 16 inches of land without you breaking a sweat. And it doesn't stop there. Mantis's optional attachments allow you to aerate, plow, and more with the snap of a finger. Engineered with durability in mind, Mantis tiller cultivators will be your guaranteed garden companion for a long time. You can find more out and details at mantis.com.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA Bio-Preferred certified? You bet. Say goodbye to Roundup and hello to No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. No More Weeds kills weeds with no harsh chemicals and no glyphosate. Safe around pets, No More Weeds has a proprietary sticking agent to use around gardens, pools, decks, patios, anywhere there are weeds. Available online at natgreenproducts.com, Amazon, and Walmart.com. Order yours today. The same great company that brings you no more bugs. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
The Shore and Shore utility cart is designed to help you with your projects around the yard and get your garden work done with ease. With a load capacity of 400 pounds, telescoping sides, the ability to use as a flat bed, and the option to pull it behind your bicycle. This cart is ideal for use around the garden, yard, lake, beach, park, and more. In short, the Shore and Shore is the most versatile cart in the market. Check us out at shoreandshore.com and get yours today.
Totally Tomato is a family-owned and operated gardening company with the largest selection of tomatoes online. Use code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at totallytomato.com. That's code 15TG25.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. Want to find out more information about those sponsors that support the program to allow it to be heard on your station each week? Our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Season 9 tab at the top of the page. Well, Holly, there are invasive plants in which are growing in our very backyard. Some of us may be aware of it, others may not. We're going to go over these so you're aware. Now, just because a plant is classified or identified as invasive doesn't mean it's necessarily bad.
No, that's very true. And you can benefit from or have benefits.
It can benefit you.
It can benefit you. So one is dill. I don't think dill just grows on its own typically, unless somebody planted it there. But you want to be aware if you are going to grow dill, it can become a spreading wildfire very quickly after 1 year.
So there are some places where dill is prohibited or frowned upon because of its ability to spread so rapidly.
Yeah, even if you grow it in containers, it reseeds, and then it's going to reseed into the soil beneath wherever that container is. So if you want to grow dill, you could realistically do it like on a patio or something, a porch, a cement, your driveway. I don't know.
We had it in containers 15 years ago, and then we transitioned that area into an in-ground garden, and we still have more. We still have dill every year, but it is finally, after 15 plus years, I'm able to catch more and more of it, and it's going slowly diminishing in quantity in the garden.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind with dill. You have to be very aware, careful, mindful with it. So then we have mint, and mint is fine in containers. It doesn't
only in containers.
I mean, you can put in the ground, but again, it's going to spread. It is something that will spread. Is it going to take over your whole garden? Not necessarily, but it will spread. And so it's advised to do it in containers. You can grow plenty of mint in containers. Yeah, that's what you want to do. Or you could grow like mint basil mint basil.
But anyway, you want to be cautious, because the only way really to extract it from your area is through a chemical means, and many people do not want to go to that level of controlling mint. So if you do have like a designated area that you don't care, and it's off to the corner, and you like to see the mint grow and the bees come in and all that stuff, go ahead, that's fine, but be aware of what the potential end result will be long term if you let it go. Jerusalem artichokes. What are, first of all, for those who continue to hear that, it's not like the artichoke in which the artichoke heart and that type of thing, the above plant flower. What is Jerusalem artichokes? There's artichoke, and then there's Jerusalem artichokes, two separate plants.
Not my friend artichoke.
Okay.
So anyway, Jerusalem artichokes, sunchokes, some people call it sunchokes. They're related to like the sunflower, dahlia family, and they put on this nice flower, but they grow this root that is like a less starchy potato, I guess you could call it. Kind of looks like a knot, like a gnarled potato, and they're delicious, but they are kind of invasive. They're not as invasive as something like mint or dill. They spread, but they don't spread super rapidly or fast, but they will spread. So, and we tried to grow them in containers once.
We have, and did successfully, yes.
So that is an option. I would, if you can get a hold of them, they are kind of fun to grow, and the good thing about them is they're perennial vegetables, so you don't have to do anything. They're just going to keep growing. Now,
when we say invasive, we're not saying that it's going to dance across the yard, but in 5 years, it will move 2 or 3 foot beyond the perimeter in which you have it currently planted. So we also find that you can harvest them in the spring before they start sprouting, and kind of clean up that way and utilize eating them in the spring as well.
Yeah. That's a good tip. So raspberries and blackberries, these do spread. They're kind of like the sunchokes, where they're not going to spread super rapidly, but they do spread. And that could be good or bad if you really like raspberries and blackberries. But depending where you put it, you don't necessarily want it to grow all over the place. So that's something to keep in mind.
Well, and it's not so much that you don't want it to grow all over the place. It's the accessibility to harvest when it is developing the fruit. If you have a patch the size of a basketball court, and you can't get to the center of it because it's so thick. That's the more of the negative of the letting it spread. It's going to produce, poundages of berries, but if you can't access them, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose. In nature, there is certain areas in which blackberries and raspberries grow, but they do not grow in that type of that type of way where they just clog each other out. They space themselves naturally in order to grow and be successful and reproduce.
Exactly. So then there's garlic mustard. I don't know if anybody actually plants garlic mustard. It just exists. It's native to a lot of areas. I've never heard of anybody actually planting it though, but it typically will grow alongside property lines, and it's a green, leafy, kind of cruciferous, but not.
It has a garlic odor,
Yeah, it has a garlic
especially when
odor.
it's young. It's actually native to Europe and parts of Asia and Africa, but has spread to North America and is now considered invasive species. While it can be edible and even nutritious, it also is known for crowding out native plants and disturbing the ecosystem in which those plants are trying to grow. So it is not necessarily always a wonderful thing. First year, it forms kidney-shaped, tooth-shaped leaves close to the ground. The second year, it can grow 1 to 3 feet, sometimes up to 6 feet tall.
Holy cow! I didn't know it got
Flowers,
that tall.
flowers and seeds and roots, and then you got the whole thing to deal with.
I just know that when I worked for different gardeners, that we were always pulling it out along with the next one we're going to talk about here, and it makes your hands smell like garlic basically, but you can eat it. I mean, people have made like garlic mustard pesto. They'll add it to like stir fries, etc. So yeah, it's not like necessarily the worst thing, but it is invasive. So buckthorn is
it is a tree.
Yeah, it's a tree. And it gets spread a lot of times by birds. So birds will eat the berries, and then as they have waste and they're flying around, it will reseed kind of aggressively and rapidly. It does outcompete native plants, and it can form these like really dense thickets. So if you do have buckthorn, you want to make sure that you are pulling it. You want to make sure you're trying to control it the best way possible. And
that's buckthorn in the South. It's a big problem in the southern states, especially during logging. For these people who are actively logging their property and then creating, like in a hunting situation, they're clearing the area in order to open it up for food plots or something like that. Buckthorn is a very aggressive plant. If nothing is done, that buckthorn comes in invasively and overwhelms the area, and there's virtually no value to the buckthorn whatsoever. And then you've got to go in there and remove it, and then burn it, and then plant, so you have something in it in the area to prevent the buckthorn from coming up.
There you go. So then we have Japanese knotwood. This is a tall bamboo-like plant, and it can spread aggressively. It damages infrastructure, and it can even tear up roads and foundations. So it looks like bamboo, and if you do see this, you want to make sure you are getting rid of it. You can pull it. You can use certain sprays on it that we typically don't advise you to use, but you want to make sure that if you know that it exists in your backyard or wherever, you want to get control of it, because it can be very invasive quickly.
Buckthorn, I need to correct that. Buckthorn is more of a northern. I was thinking of a different. I can't remember what I'm thinking of, but based on the maps, it's an area in which the northern portions of the United States is more affected than the southern part. So there's some other plant down there that I'm not correctly identifying as being a problem down there.
So another one I want to talk about is this wild parsnip. A lot of state parks here where we are in Wisconsin will warn people about this.
Very dangerous plant. Yeah,
it's very dangerous. It has a sap, that's what it is, that can cause severe skin irritation, but it also looks something like Queen Anne's lace, the flowers.
Right. Which looks like a carrot going to seed.
Right.
Yeah.
So people think, oh, that's a pretty flower. And then you pick up the flower, and then all of a sudden you have the skin irritation, and it's not good. So the wild parsnip, if you come upon something that looks like the Queen Anne's lace, which is like the white, like Joey said, like a carrot top coming to seed, you want to make sure you're aware, especially like a lot of these state parks here in Wisconsin, they'll warn people, it's wild parsnip time, especially like in the late summer is when they are at their like full flowering, blooming time, and just to be aware. And yeah, so that's wild parsnip. Obviously, if you pull it out, don't eat the roots. That would not be good. I would just stay away. Typically, if you see something that you don't know what it is and you're out like walking in nature, don't touch it.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the more invasive plants in the South is kudos, Kudzu. Grows out of control quickly and spreads through its runners. So that's another problem that you can face in the South, Kudzu. So
then we also have purple loose strife. I've heard about this my whole life because it is an invasive plant, and it's around wetlands typically, and it's a really pretty looking flower. It mimics the stargazer flower in a way, and it just takes over the wetlands.
Well, summer is soon to be over, Holly, and the kids are getting back in school. Yep, it's that time of year. Nights are getting longer, and you will have probably forgotten about your yard at this time.
Just because it's fall, we don't want to forget about our yards, and those Japanese beetles won't forget either. They may be gone, but they're not far. They may have feasted on your roses and berries. They laid eggs in your turf so they can start again next year. You can take a stand with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical Bt granular that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply apply the granular with spreader, irrigate it into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Not only is Grub Gone easy to use, it is the only non-toxic non-chemical choice to be effectively to use to control those grubs. And the best part about it, it's non-toxic to bees, pollinators, beneficial insects. In fact, Grub Gone has no label restrictions for use around flowers, so you don't have to worry about this fall toxifying your flowers and then devastating your pollinators. You can find all this out at grubgone.com or PhylumBioproducts.com. Hang out with us when we return. Dr. Derrick Stowell, he is a horticultural therapist. He'll tell us all about that when we return. You're tuned into the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Azure Standard is America's premier family-owned online store for organic foods and healthy products for your home and garden. They deliver directly to families and commercial customers through over 3,500 drop points across all 50 states. Azure Standard strives to make grocery shopping easy, bringing all your needs to one convenient pickup location. As a trusted national health food distributor, Azure Standard offers bulk and specialty health foods to communities nationwide. With over 12,000 products, each one is approved and carefully sampled to ensure the highest quality. Azure Standard holds firm to non-GMO, organic, and natural standards. From food and beauty products to household items, nutritional supplements, animal care, hobby supplies, and even garden essentials, Azure Standard truly has everything for your daily living. Visit azurestandard.com, that's A-Z-U-R-E standard.com. Use promo code Joey and Holly15 at checkout to get 15% off for new customers who open an account for the first time and place a minimum order of $100 or more, shipped to a drop location of your choice. That's code Joey and Holly15 at azurestandard.com. Azure Standard is A-Z-U-R-E standard.com.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at jungseed.com. That coupon code is 15TG25 to save 15% off your order at jungseed.com.
R.H. Shumway is a family-owned and operated gardening company with a large selection of seeds and plants online. You can use code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at rhshumway.com. That's code 15TG25. Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Have insects such as aphids or fungal gnats invaded your plants? Fight back with Summit Year-Round Spray Oil and Summit Mosquito Bits. Organic Summit Year-Round Spray Oil kills insect pests on indoor and outdoor plants. All natural mosquito bits kill fungal gnats larvae in container plants. Both products are harmless to people, plants, and wildlife. Summit Year-Round Spray Oil and Summit Mosquito Bit are available at garden centers, hardware stores, and at SummitResponsibleSolutions.com. One Sweet Earth makes the last garden bed you'll ever need. Strong, simple, sustainable. One Sweet Earth beds slide together in minutes. No tools, no rot, no junk. Durable, non-toxic, woman-owned, made in the USA. Visit onesweetearth.com. Save your back. Easily and quickly remove trees and shrubs from your property with the Weed Wrench. Find it at weed-wrench.com. Made in the USA. Use coupon code WEED to save $10 off your Weed Wrench at weed-wrench.com. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you around. Want more information about those sponsors? You can find all that out at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Underneath the Money tab at the top of the page for coupons, and the Season 9 tab for all the sponsors you've heard that support the program. Well, Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Dr. Derrick Stowell has over 25 years of experience leading recreational and therapeutic programs. He was leading the horticultural therapy program at the University of Tennessee, but recently transitioned to the role of teaching recreational therapy. Welcome to the program, Derrick.
Hello, thank you.
Well, let's start with this. We appreciate you taking time on the program here, not only to enlighten Holly and myself, but all of our guests. And I'll start with this. What is a horticultural therapist? What is that? And we know it's not talking to plants, so how does that tie into humans?
Sure, yeah. So a horticultural therapist is somebody that has been trained in the use of horticulture as a therapeutic modality. And they are registered through the organization called the American Horticultural Therapy Association. So those individuals get a college education, training, at least a bachelor's degree, plus a supervised internship to meet the requirements of a horticultural therapist so they can practice.
So it's like, is it similar to a traditional therapist, but just in the role of the horticultural genre?
Sure. Yeah. So it is very, and horticultural therapists, we focus on using horticulture, and gardening as, the modality that we're working with. So it's the interaction between growing plants, caring for plants, and humans. And what makes this different than just simply us gardening is working with a therapist that has that does assessment. So we assess our clients or our patients to determine what are their needs, what are their health needs, and then we develop goals around those assessments to then implement a program that helps improve their health and wellness outcomes.
That's a very, very interesting way of therapy. So what inspired you to get into horticultural therapy?
That's a good question. I kind of came through a really roundabout way. For me, a lot of my experiences when I was younger and in high school was outside in nature, hiking, doing outdoors kind of related activities. So I went to college, focused on outdoor recreation and wanting to help lead people in outdoor experiences. And then came around after completing my bachelor's degree and doing some volunteer work with AmeriCorps. After I graduated, I joined and took part in a recreational therapy program at the University of Tennessee. I got my master's degree in that. And I spent about 5 years running a national youth camp for children with disabilities. And then found the University of Tennessee Gardens. And while I started working there, I was focused mostly on education and garden education. But somebody mentioned the concept of horticultural therapy, and what I started learning about that and realized that was very closely related to my master's degree in recreational therapy, which again is using recreation as the therapeutic modality. So I went back to school, took some more courses, and I started developing programs at the University of Tennessee Gardens to meet the needs of the populations that were coming to me. So we had folks from assisted living facilities and memory care facilities reaching out to us and wanting to come to our gardens or wanting us to come to them and bring programs to help enrich the lives of those residents. And so from there, I started developing those programs, and then I got involved in horticultural therapy that way. So it was kind of an indirect route, but it really, to me, has always been the connection to nature. And in horticultural therapy is that connection to nature through growing and caring for plants.
Wow. So what is a remarkable moment you've had when working with others in horticultural therapy that you were just like, this is awesome?
Yeah, I think, in some ways it's almost every time I work with somebody, there's something really awesome about working with folks and getting to get your hands and in the soil and digging up plants and growing plants and just caring for those plants, and then seeing the connections those people make. But I think this summer we at the UT Gardens we run a program for teens who have disabilities that's focused on vocational skills. So we're trying to teach them about job skills, social skills, and horticulture. And throughout that program, the participants that we have that come there, we have participants have a variety of different diagnoses, from intellectual disability to autism to other medical complications. And this past summer, it was really interesting. We were there talking. I was talking with some of their participants, and there was this one individual who was he has autism, and so when we were talking, I was talking to somebody else, but he was standing right next to us, and I was talking about a vacation that I took, it's sort of during our break time, so we were all socializing, and that individual kind of looks at us and he says, "I'm glad you had a good time at that vacation," and so he kind of was, so for someone who has autism, sometimes the ability to kind of take part in kind of a social conversation and then interact back and forth can be a challenge. But part of the experience of working outside and working with plants that I find is this breaks down barriers for folks, and it allows them to relax and allows them to have some therapeutic experiences. And so for him, it was like, hey, he was listening to us, he was interacting, he was giving feedback, and he was back and forth in a conversation. So that really was just really an awesome experience to kind of see and be part of that through our program.
Now, did you grow up in a garden family, or was this all kind of new to you as you grew older and decided this is where you wanted to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm from East Tennessee, so we have amazing outdoors, amazing mountains and hiking trails, and I did a lot of that, particularly in high school. But my dad did garden, and so there's, I can remember, between the time of when he moved to the house that I grew up in, before he had me and my sister, we had his whole backyard was at one point like a vegetable garden. Like, he was growing that much produce. And then over the years, it kind of came and went depending on, what we had going on. But he always had some gardens. And then I think it was right around middle school years, he became friends with a guy who worked at a local garden center. And so that kind of, if you're a gardener, you kind of get a friend that works at a place like that, kind of gets you in trouble, right? Because you got a lot of access to a lot of information and plants and everything. So that individual, he built had built a pond in his backyard, and so my dad had to build a pond. So we dug it. I remember digging that pond with him, a koi pond in our backyard, landscaping it, and just so over the years, just being really highly involved in different landscaping and garden elements that my dad had at the house, and we built on, made our own greenhouse. So yeah, so I've been doing that since I was little, because of my dad and his interest. And so, it was kind of interesting too, thinking back on that, of how, I went away, kind of did a lot of outdoor kind of nature hiking, and then got back into gardening when I was a little bit older. And so, yeah, that was a really important part of my development of becoming a horticultural therapist.
So what is the history of horticultural therapy where, like, who, I guess, who
The
started
origins.
it, the origin, or who founded it, or who invented it, or
Yeah.
whatever.
So there's some stories. A lot of information starts back in the in the early years of our country when if you've studied history of healthcare, people that had mental health issues and other disabilities were kind of put at taken to they called them hospitals, but they were kind of centers where they were removed from society and kind of kept separate.
Not
And
a good thing. Not
there were, yeah, not the best history,
Right.
but one of the things that we talk a lot about in our profession is this guy named Benjamin Rush in Philadelphia was a psychiatrist. I think he's considered the father of modern psychiatry. And he had there was a hospital he was part of, a facility where people lived at. And he noted just through his observation that people that experienced the outdoor working in a farm setting had improved. Like it was written down as like hit their mania. So it helped them calm down. It helped them center themselves. And so those were some early documentation of that. And then throughout history at times, different cultures have used gardens as part of things like hospice programs during the Middle Ages, and in the monasteries. But in the United States, particularly, the profession really began organizing formally in 1973 when the American Horticultural Therapy Association formed. So before that, there were some developments, like during World War One and World War II, when soldiers were coming back with injuries, different people started using plants as activities in the hospitals with the veterans were coming back in and being rehabilitated. So there was some noted there. But our profession really started in 73 when a bunch of the professionals and horticulturists and horticultural therapists came together and said, we need a professional association because there's enough people interested in this that we have to start organizing. We have to start saying, what is this profession? How do we define it? What are standards? What is research surrounding this? So then we can kind of continue to build that profession and continue to ensure that the work we do is protecting the patients and clients, and also advancing through sound scientific evidence-based practice.
Yeah, that evidence-based practice you mentioned earlier, for those who are not familiar with what they did to individuals who, quote unquote, didn't fit into society, there were some horrific things in which they did behind those closed doors. Whenever you go and do these programs for memory loss individuals or homes, do you see a light in their face when they get their hands in the dirt or they're talking about it that you normally don't see because their memory is going away in into life situation?
Yeah, I think it depends on, we work a lot with older adults, some with memory loss and some without. But, we see that, when I take a cart in full of plants, like their eyes light up. One of the facilities I used to go to a lot was a memory care facility. And this one particular participant that would come in every time, I would go there twice a month. She was there all the time. She was the first one in the room. She was outside in the garden that they had. She was highly involved and engaged in what we did because she had a lot of meaning in that. One of the activity director there told me one time, and I didn't really have any idea she was like, that resident, this is the only activity she came to. They said her husband had passed away, and so she was just not social, not interactive with anybody else or any other activity, but she was at the garden program. And those are the kinds of things that we see a lot with the particularly in assisted living facilities. I hear it a lot from the activity staff or activity directors that work in those facilities is we're providing a meaningful activity for them that helps connect them to their past. And gives them a sense of purpose that a lot of times they lose when you go into a facility because, people are used to having their own garden and going out and growing produce. And so we're giving them the ability to do that again and reconnect with those memories. And it's very, very powerful for those residents.
And it makes you feel good that you are giving them you're bringing happiness to them once again that they may have lost.
Yeah.
Well, Derrick, we greatly appreciate the time. How can people find out this method for their loved ones or themselves in their particular area, the horticultural therapist?
Sure. Unfortunately, you find it there's a lot of areas where that's focused at around the country. If you check out, the best place to go is ahta.org. It's the American Horticultural Therapy Association website. They have a section on their website that's HTR search, so you can actually search your zip code looking for a horticultural therapist. Also, if someone doesn't come up there, you can just email them. It's info at ahta.org and say, hey, I'm looking for somebody. A lot of our therapists, some therapists are private practice, and so they have their own businesses, and they, so you can probably do some searches online for horticultural therapy in your area to see if you can find somebody. And then AHTA can kind of help you find somebody also and connect up with that way.
Well, Derrick, we thank you very much for enlightening us about horticultural therapy. Many people probably didn't even know that was a thing, and now they can search and maybe be part of that or get the help they need in that particular realm. We thank you for your help and your knowledge.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And when we return, it's going to be your garden questions and our garden answers. You're tuned in to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
4-Jar Canning Supply, your one-stop shop for all your canning needs, where old ways meet new in every jar. They are a family with decades of home canning experience, offering top quality products and outstanding service. Never run out of canning lids again. Whether you're a seasoned canner or just starting out, their extensive range of canning products will elevate your canning game. 4jars.com. Inspired by the homemade preserves of our childhoods, they want to share that same joy with you. They deeply care about your family's health and understand the importance of homemade, nutritious meals. That's why they offer high-quality products to help you preserve your food. Quality canning lids, pressure canners, vacuum seal machines, and all the tools you need to get the job done. 4Jars has you covered. Our canning lids provide the perfect airtight seal for any regular, wide, or gym-sized jar. With the thickest lids on the market, they provide long-lasting freshness, up to 18 months, and are rust-resistant, ensuring your preserves stay secure. Use code 4jars25 to save 10% off your order at 4jars.com. That's FORJARS25 to save 10% off your order at 4jars, FORJARS.com. Check out ivorganics.com. It's America's leading garden product YouTube channel. IV Organic products are innovative, organic, effective, and proudly USA made to help you achieve your best growing season. Use coupon code RADIO10 at checkout and save 10% on your entire order at ivorganics.com. That coupon code again is RADIO10 to save 10% on your order at ivorganics.com. If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear, non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts, Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com. Vermont Bean Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company with the largest selection of seeds online. Use coupon code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at vermontbean.com. That coupon code is 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at vermontbean.com. Welcome back to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you around. More information about those coupon codes, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Underneath the money tab at the top of the page, you want to find out all of the sponsors that support the program. It's under the Season 9 tab at the top of the page, our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. You got a question, we got an answer. It's time for your garden questions and our garden answer. Send it on over at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call toll-free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469.
Okay, so maybe this has been addressed, but still going to ask. I keep reading that problems occur when you water tomato plants from the top. How is this different than rain falling from the top? I'm happy to comply, but just super curious.
Well, water from a tap, whether municipal, well, your water softener, whatever the case is a different compound or different type of water than falls from the sky. Water from the city has chemicals in it. Water from a well may have a lot more minerals in it than rainwater, or you went through a water softener in order to pump the water through the system in order to get it out of your house and onto your vegetation. If you're pumping water from a reservoir or a pond, that's probably as close to traditional authentic rainwater as possible, but rainwater is much different than well water or even groundwater with the mineral components that it has, and that's why it can affect the plants differently. In addition, any type of water falling from the sky through tomato plants and hitting the soil and splashing up on the plants can do damage, such as early blight and discoloration of the leaves and progressively working up the plant. So mulching is an important process of proper tomato growth and health of whatever type of mulch you want to, whether it's a weed barrier or leaves or straw or chemical-free grass clippings. So maybe that helps explain a little bit more of what's going on, the difference between the two. I pulled some onions this week. Some look like they have mold near the heads. Can I dry them out and salvage them? Did I wait too long to harvest them?
They're fine.
You're going to get a little bit of mold anyway.
Right, that happens.
The onion falls over.
I mean, if you cut it open and it looks like it's rotten, then obviously don't eat it. But it's fine. You can peel some of that moldy looking stuff away.
We've always had that issue.
I think that's pretty common with a lot of homegrown onions.
Yeah, it's not pretty like money beets.
Right.
You got to really make it look. But no, not an issue at all. You didn't wait. Your onions are ready whenever the tops fall over and crease the stem. No matter what you do beyond that, they're not going to grow. They've cut the circulation off to the bulb, and the bulb is as big as it's going to get. So harvesting it as soon as possible can eliminate some of the potential rot or molding issues they may have. We've harvested onions when it's been wet, and we've had that particular issue. We've harvested onions when it's been bone dry, and we had to chisel them out of the soil. We didn't have that issue. So you didn't wait too long. You did what you needed to do, and once it dries, you'll be able to flake that outer skin off. You'll be fine.
It's one of those onion things, I guess.
Onion knowledge.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more.
This person needs advice. I had extra tomato plants that don't look so good. I just planted them closer than normal, not expecting them to survive, but they are flourishing. Lots of green tomatoes on all 4 plants. I will be trimming any blight. Should I also be thinning and topping?
I would not thin or top the tomatoes at all. Traditionally, people say, how far apart do you plant your tomatoes? Well, if you have unlimited space, 4 foot apart. If you have minimal amount of space in an urban backyard, 2 foot apart. When I plant them in a Florida weave, which is a row that they grow in between strings and hang off of, I go 16 to 18 inches apart. They literally grow into one another into a giant shrub of tomatoes plants. So planting them too close, not necessarily a bad thing. Trimming the blight off, yes, that will diminish the acceleration that disease can get up and go up in the plant. I wouldn't trim any of the tops off because they're going to, or extra limbs, because anything there can produce more tomatoes, and that's the goal. Now, as we get closer to frost, we'll talk about how we can get these plants to produce and ripen before frost, so we don't have 400 pounds of green tomatoes that we need to make. What is it? It's not chutney, is it? What is it?
You can do green tomato salsa.
Salsa, yeah, green.
Green salsa.
So
salsa verde.
Salsa, yeah. So don't worry about trimming. I wouldn't trim anything off the tops of the tomatoes at this point, being the time that we're in, middle of the summer. So, with that being said, we are out of time, and we thank you for yours. Miss any portion of the program, want to revisit it, find it on your favorite search engine by going the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. You'll find the program or our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. Tune into the program next week where we will be discussing dangerous plants that grow right here in the U.S., as well as harvesting and using fallen apples and produce. Can it be done safely? Is it safe to do such? It's an interesting conversation we're going to have. As well as Heather Blackmore will be with us. She is the founder of garden blog Here She Grows, and we'll answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.